What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am bringing you week 4 of the NPL. This week, we are paired against the Los Angeles Nidokings, who are a winless team. However, they are a very threatening team and are coached by a very good player in Danza, or Crobat for the win. If you happen to watch the old GBA, the Global Battle Association, this man was a part of that. So he's been battling some pretty big YouTubers, and we are happy to have him as a part of our league. Now that the GBA has collapsed. So, diving into the team preview on what he has to offer, he has a lot of threats, okay? He has some very defensive mons, he has some very, very strong offensive mons. Highlighting these are the genies. He has Thunderous Eye, which is right here, there we go. He has Thunderous Eye, which it's just a huge threat to my team. This was actually recently traded to him from the Detroit Gale Wings, and I was very sad to see that happen because Thunderous is such a threat to my team, with Entei being my only true switch into it. The other notable threat he has is the Landorus Eye, which for similar reasons as the Thunderous is very, very effective against my team. I just don't have many switch-ins to it, so I have to use some pretty innovative movesets and innovative EV spreads to be able to manage that. Other threats he has the Garchomp, he has Mamoswine, two very powerful physical sweepers, and then of course he has the Mega Diancie, which is always a threat to balance because of its ever so threatening Calm Mindset. Its Rock Polish set also can be pretty threatening if I were to run a more offensive team. So yeah, he is a very interesting team, a very tough team to plan for, but let's go ahead and jump into my team building process. Alright, so as I said before, the team building process for Danza's team is going to be very difficult because he does have those two incredible offensive threats in Thunderous Eye and Landorus Eye, and then of course Mega Diancie and a couple hard physical sweepers. So what I wanted to do originally was kind of look through his team and see where his holes are, and I did notice a very, very severe weakness to powerful psychic types with coverage moves. So with that in mind, I did decide to start this team building off with Alakazam, with a Life Orb, Magic Guard, Substitute, and 3 coverage moves. The coverage moves do allow me to hit pretty much his entire team for at least for super effective damage, or in some cases only neutral damage. But Dazzling Gleam, of course, is there to help with the Mandibuzz, which would have been an issue otherwise. It was kind of a late addition on this set. But moving on to the next mon, I did have a Tornadus Therian, which is a set that MV helped me come up with. It's EV to outspeed Timid Thunderous Eye by 1, so it's going to be packing a very hard offensive punch both on the special and physical sides. It has great coverage moves which hit again the majority of his team for super effective damage. So between Tornadus T and Alakazam, I expect to put in a lot of work against his team and hopefully wear it down enough to the point where my wall core can win out. Basically, I have a bulky regeneration team, and by regeneration I simply mean that it's going to be supported by Wish. Whenever you hear me say that in the future, that's what I mean. So that's kind of the idea here. I punch holes with these offensive threats, and then I take hits as need be with the rest of my mons and regenerate myself in the process. So moving on to my next mon, I have the Entei with the Assault Vest, simply because I need something to switch in on Thunderous reliably. So that's what I did here. I'm fully expecting the Thunderous to be Nasty Plot or potentially Life Orb with a couple other, with more coverage moves as opposed to Nasty Plot and Taunt, Thunder Wave, etc. So that's the idea here. And then on Venusaur, it's very standard, not much to say here. Max HP, max defense. Just to take hits, get the Leech Seed up to support my team, help myself heal and regenerate, and dish damage as need be. And then I have the Gligar. This was kind of an innovative set, I would say, because especially defensive Gligar is not very common. However, what's cool about this set is that it's actually a perfect switch in to Landorus Eyes that don't run HP Ice. So I found this to be a very helpful set. Not only because it works against Landorus Eye, but also because it's a perfect switch into Diancie, or Mega Diancie that is, as Mega Diancie has pretty terrible coverage if we're being honest. And yeah, Gligar just going to be an easy switch in. I have the standard hazard control attacks, Roost, and then Aqua Tail to hit the Landorus Eye, to hit the Mega Diancie, to hit Garchomp if I have to. So yeah, it's just a decent, a pretty decent mon for this matchup. My choice was really between Empoleon and this for my hazard control mon. and I didn't really feel like Empoleon was going to do much good for me, considering the majority of his mons would have stab super effective attacks against it. So I went with Gligar for that reason, and we'll just see how it works out. And then finally, for my last mon, I brought the standard Vaporeon, this time having Heal Bell as opposed to, I believe, Baton Pass last time I brought it. This is just a pure support mon. It's going to support my team, keep it going, and heal off the statuses as they may come. So that's this team building process. Let's go ahead and jump into the battle, which is on Wi-Fi, so stay tuned. Alright, so when the team preview came up, the first thing that came to my mind was relief. He didn't bring the Landorus Eye, so all I really had to worry about, at least immediately, was the Thunderous Eye. I couldn't let that set up, I couldn't let that become too big of a problem. So if I can tame Thunderous Eye, I should have a pretty good chance in this match. He also brought the Mandibuzz, which makes me glad I brought the Dazzling Gleam Alakazam. And he brought, of course, Garchomp, which could be a lead chomp, considering his only two potential Stealth Rock layers here are the Garchomp or the Heatran, both of which are pretty equally viable Stealth Rock layers. So I'm not really sure what to expect there, but Garchomp could indeed be a lead chomp. He has the Heatran, which can be a lot of different things. It can be offensive, it can be defensive mon. So we'll just kind of see on that. He has Meloetta, which I really don't know what to expect there. I personally haven't faced a Meloetta in a really long time, so I'm not really sure what it's going to do. However, I'm not terribly concerned about it because I do have very bulky mons on my own side, and just the stab coverage of Meloetta shouldn't be too big of an issue for me. And then he brought the Mega Diancie, which is Mega Diancie. It only has 2 sets. I kind of know already going in what it's going to try to do, so I'm not too concerned about that either. But let's go ahead and jump into this battle. This is the first Wi-Fi battle I have done on this channel in a really long time. Styx and I really need to get back into doing that because we haven't been given this capture card very much use. We definitely need to do a little more of that. But he ends up leading off with his Mega Diancie as I led off with my Mega Venusaur, as Mega Venusaur really was the best lead against his team. Just in general, he didn't have anything to immediately threaten me. So I led with Mega Venusaur, and I'm just going to go straight for the Giga Drain just in case he left in his Mega Diancie to go for a Side Shock, because at this point I really didn't know how good of a player he was. But the fact that he switched out right away just tells me, alright, he's going to be a respectable player at the very least. So I go for the Giga Drain there. And now I'm just going to go for the Leech Seed because I really have no reason not to. I'm hoping the Mandibuzz doesn't outspeed me. I'm hoping the Mandibuzz doesn't run Taunt because I'm pretty sure it can learn Taunt. And regardless, Leech Seed was just a safe play as he just goes for a Whirlwind, which is fine with me. That actually confirms that he really can't touch me. He might have Brave Bird, but even if he does have Brave Bird, that's not going to do much damage to me at all. He ends up Whirlwinding me into my Entei, which kind of sucks because I need to keep Entei at high health to make sure it can handle the Thunderous. So I am going to be forced to switch out here on this next turn. I end up pulling him back and switching into my Venusaur again because I did understand at this point the Venusaur was going to be a hard stop to Mandibuzz, even if Mandibuzz was a hard stop to Venusaur. So it's a win-win, I guess, for both of us in that situation. But he ends up pulling a switch on that turn into his Garchomp to set up his Stealth Rock, which is fine. I do have methods of removing those Stealth Rocks later, but I am just going to go for the Leech Seed here to break any potential sashes, or if he wants to switch again, I didn't know what his plan was. I was going for the Leech Seed anyways because it was my best play. Here he switches out his Garchomp back into his Mandibuzz. And again, I'm just going to go for the Giga Drain because why not? I wanted to make sure the Garchomp didn't get a substitute if it was a sub-chomp. I didn't want it to get like free Swords Dances or whatnot, you know. So he just goes into his Mandibuzz, which is fine. I'm just going to go for the Leech Seed as he goes for a Brave Bird, revealing that. And then I see how little damage this does to Mega Venusaur, which just reveals how bulky Mega Venusaur really is. Taking a stab Brave Bird, that's like, I believe, 120 base power attack. Even if it's from a Mandibuzz, that's still not very much damage. So yeah, he does the Brave Bird thing, and then I just go for his Synthesis here. And I guess I did that because I wanted to scout for damage. I wanted to be at full health just in case he wanted to go for a Whirlwind here, and he ends up doing that, that's fine with me. I'm not gonna complain about that, as I am Whirlwinded into my Gligar, which is great because I can just get rid of these hazards right now, and the Stealth Rock will be gone until the next time Garchomp makes an appearance. So that worked out pretty well for me. As I said, just going to go for that Defog, and I believe he's just going to Whirlwind me right out because he really doesn't have anything else to do. I might have made a naive play there, as he could have just had knockoff and gotten rid of my Violite, and that would have been really, really bad. But because he whirlwinded me there, that definitely confirms that he does not have knockoff. And he actually whirlwinds me into my Alakazam, which is, again, bad, because I don't want to be taking any stab dark moves, as Alakazam is very, very frail, and it'll just probably die or get very close to it. I just go into my Venusaur. He just goes for the Brave Bird. I'm not sure if that was a prediction or just his strongest offensive option against the Alakazam. Regardless, Venusaur is going to eat that up like it's nobody's business, and I'm just going to go for a Leech Seed here on the following turn. Predicting the switch, basically, or if you wanted to stay in a Whirlwind me, it'd be nice to have the Leech Seed up, and that way I'm in better shape. But he just goes into his Meloetta, and I miss the Leech Seed. This is actually really, really important, because now he's able to get a free substitute off, and that makes my life a little bit difficult, because if it had a Leech Seed on it, then the substitute Meloetta is really not a threat, because I can stall that thing out for days with Vaporeon. So I go into my Vaporeon here, but when he sets up the substitute, I ran a Calc, and I saw that a Scald from my Vaporeon will not break the substitute, so I know that Calm Mind is coming right here, and I'm not going to let him set up in my face, because I don't have any way of phasing him. So I just go straight into my Entei, knowing that I can take a +1 anything from this Meloetta, even HP Ground if he were to have it. And I'm just going to go for the Sacred Fire here on the upcoming turn. Basically, the thought that was going through my head here was a little bit of worry, because I know that I need Entei at high health to be able to take any hits from Thundurus, so I have to be really careful here with my plays. Luckily, he has Psychic instead of Psyshock, so this is going to do even less damage than I anticipated having to take here. But I just go for the Sacred Fire, and I'm going to break that substitute. Unfortunately, I can't burn him from underneath the substitute, otherwise that'd be really, really helpful. But he does reveal the leftovers here on, I guess he did on the following turn as well, but he is just going to switch out. I'm not really sure if that was his best play. I personally would have stayed in and just started Psychicking the Entei, just to get all the damage he could on it, such that Thundurus could do more work against my team. But to each their own, he ends up switching into Garchomp, and I do get the burn with Sacred Fire, which is nice, because that makes Garchomp a non-threat offensively. However, it's not so nice that he did get his Garchomp in, because he now is able to get his Stealth Rock up, which I guess was his reasoning behind the switch in the first place, and that's fine. That's a good play in that case. I just go into my Venusaur here, because it is my best switch in. It gives me an opportunity to heal up Venusaur if need be, as I know Venusaur needs to be at high health in this game, because I don't really know what his Mons are going to do at this point. The burn damage is racking up a little bit, and I'm just going to go, I believe, for Leech Seed again on this upcoming turn, as he goes into his Mandibuzz again. What do you know? Nice to see him again. So I get the Leech Seed off, which is nice. It means I get a little bit of health back. It's kind of stally whenever it comes to be between Mandibuzz and Venusaur, but unfortunately that's the nature of a game that has a lot of bulky Mons who happen to be each other's counters, so that's just kind of how it goes, unfortunately. I get back up to about 159 HP. He just switches right back out into his Presley, which is that darn Meloetta again, and I go for the Sludge Bomb here, kind of hoping to get the poison on the Mandibuzz or on whatever comes in. Unfortunately, I don't get the poison, but I do get a nice little critical hit, which that's very nice, because that means Meloetta is now in range of my Alakazam's Focus Blast, assuming this isn't a bulky Meloetta, so that definitely helps out, and as a result, I'm just going to go straight into my Alakazam here. Especially knowing that if he does decide to go for the Psychic, I can eat that up. I actually do have a little bit of an investment in Special Defense, considering I only needed to EV Alakazam to outspeed Thundurus by 1. So because of that extra little bit of Special Defense, I was able to take that Psychic a little bit better than I would have normally, and that's pretty nice. Here we go for the Focus Blast, and this was actually a really big moment in the game, because I get a critical hit with Focus Blast. So now, Mandibuzz is in range of my Dazzling Gleam that I have not revealed yet, and I don't know if he's expecting it. I just go for it here, and luckily, he does not see it coming, or maybe he does and was sacking Mandibuzz, but I am able to take out the Mandibuzz right here, which means Mega Venusaur now pretty much has free reign and really can't be taken down in this game. Here, I just decided to switch out because I know I don't want to risk Alakazam, and I'm not confident that a Focus Blast can take out Mega Diancie. I didn't actually calc it at that point, but I did know that I had the Vaporeon and the Gligar, which both are perfect switch-ins to this Diancie, regardless of moveset, so I'm not worried about it whatsoever. I do just go into my Vaporeon here to eat up whatever he wants to do. He just goes for a Rock Polish, revealing that he is not a Calm Mind set, at least hopefully, and that makes things a lot easier for me because Calm Mind is the set that I was worried about. Considering I'm running a more balanced team, and the Calm Mind Mega Diancie is basically what you call a balanced breaker, but the Rock Polish Mega Diancie is more of a hyper offense breaker, and I did not bring a hyper offensive team, so this is perfectly fine with me. I have plenty of Mons that can take an unboosted attack from Mega Diancie, and I'm just going to leave Vaporeon in there and fire off a Scald, hoping for a burn, also just going for damage on the Mega Diancie, considering damage is damage in this format, and if I can weaken his team, I'm going to be in pretty good shape, especially considering he has no method of regeneration on the majority of his Mons. Here I just go for the Wish because I want to get my health back. I know this is going to put me in a kind of an awkward situation, most likely on the following turn, as he can very easily just switch out into a threat, probably Thunderous, but regardless, I'm still just going to go for the Protect because I know I need Vaporeon at high health, or if not max health, to be able to be a good Mon in this fight. Here, I played with the idea of going for a Protect again, but I did realize that he could very easily just go for a Nasty Plot, so I'm just going to switch right out because I don't want him to get too many boosts. I'm just going to go into my Gligar here, halfway predicting the Thunderbolt and halfway predicting the Nasty Plot, and here I'm basically going to use Gligar as a scout for Hidden Power Ice. I need to find out what his Hidden Power is before I can really approach this thing the best way, so I double out into my Entei, expecting the HP Ice. I'm hoping for the HP Ice, but if he does decide to do something besides HP Ice, I can either eat it up or I can bring Entei in here and just go for the extreme speed and get that necessary damage on Thunderous that I need to be able to take it out with the Tornadus T or with my Alakazam. So I'm just going to go for the extreme speed here. He does taunt me on that incoming turn, which is a decent play. I guess he was trying to prevent the Stealth Rock or the Defog, which that's a-okay, but I don't just leave my Gligar in there to die to the potential HP Ice. Instead, I'm going to fodder off Entei here for damage on Thunderous, which was what I believe a very good play, as it puts me in a very, very good situation for the rest of this game. I have Alakazam in here now, and he brings in this Air Balloon Heatran, and I just go for the Psychic here, and I'm not really feeling I'm not feeling lucky, basically, at this point. As I see that damage from Psychic, I know this is an offensive Heatran, and I pop the Air Balloon, so he doesn't have leftovers. I'm just not thinking I'm going to hit that particular Focus Blast, so I decide to switch out safely into my Vaporeon, knowing that I'm going to be able to heal myself up against this Heatran. So I'm just going to go into my Vaporeon here. It's a counter to Heatran. I'm not really concerned whatsoever, and I'm going to go for the Scald on this turn, I believe, as he goes for a Taunt, which is a very good Heatran set. Taunt Heatran definitely could have given me trouble, but luckily I get the prediction here correct, as I didn't expect him to do anything too threatening to me, and I thought he also might switch out. And here I'm going to switch out my Vaporeon for two reasons. One, I think he might switch. Three reasons I should say. Two, I can't heal myself, and three, he might still have Hidden Power Electric, and he reveals Hidden Power Electric here, which is really nice as it's a free switch into my Gligar, and this gives me the opportunity to get rid of those Stealth Rocks, so I'm glad he didn't try to taunt my Gligar here. I'm also kind of surprised he decided to leave his Heatran in, as I could have very easily just had Earthquake and KO'd him here. So here he switches out his Heatran and goes into his Thunderous Eye, as I go for Stealth Rock, which is a play for him I really, really don't agree with. I think he needed to leave his Heatran in and KO my Gligar such that I didn't get Rocks up, but then again, in the end, I'm not sure if it mattered, but regardless, I'm just going to go for the Aqua Tail here on the Thunders because I don't need my Gligar anymore. I'm just going to sack it because I do have my win conditions in sight, as my Alakazam and my Tornadus T, rather, both can basically clean up this game from this range. So I'm just going to go into my Alakazam here and fire off a Psychic. In hindsight, I probably could have just gone for a substitute here because the switch out was quite obvious, and the switch out into Heatran, rather, the sack was quite obvious, but I didn't make that play. It's okay, it's not going to hurt me in the long run, but that's just a play I definitely should have thought a little bit further about, excuse me. Here he just goes into his Meloetta, and again, I know it's in range of my Focus Blast if it's not defensive, and if it is defensive, I can live whatever he wants to dish at me. Bar Shadow Ball, but I just go for that Focus Blast. He does live, so I guess I miscalculated. He might have had a little bit of defense investment. He just goes for that Calm Mind, which was a misplay, unfortunately. I guess he predicted my switch out, but I really didn't need to do that when I did have the game 1 with Tornadus T if Alakazam wasn't able to pull it off on his own. So I'm just going to go for the Dazzling Gleam here to finish him off, the most accurate move that was not very effective. And Meloetta goes down. Alakazam is just going to finish out this game as he goes into his Mega Diancie. That is not going to take the Psychic. That's going to get the boot. And yeah, Alakazam is just going to finish this game off. So that was a fun game. This is going to be a 4-0 in favor of the Toronto Staraptors. So this is awesome. We are off to a 3-1 start after that rocky Week 1 game where I got haxed out. We're doing quite well for ourselves. We are now in the top 3 in the power rankings. I don't know where I'm going to be after this week, but we're doing well. We are in the lead in my conference by a pretty large amount. There's a differential board that I'll show you here as soon as the battle ends, but yeah, we're doing pretty well this season with an expansion team, so that's kind of unheard of, and I'm definitely happy with how I'm playing. I'm happy with how the team I drafted is doing. But yeah, let's go ahead and pull up my page real quick. So yeah, as you can see down here, this should be a 3-1 record now with a +12 differential, which actually ties me for first place in the entire league. So we have a very good start. And next week we are against the Chicago Sacred Fire, I believe, and they have a pretty threatening squad as well, as you can see. So they have Talonflame. That's going to be fun. But yeah, that concludes this week of the NPL. So I will see you in Week 5. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.